Thank you. Okay, you can all hear me? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, because I'm a consultant, I need to get as many people knowing that I do this kind of stuff as possible. So I'm going to take a selfie, and I want you all to stick your hands in the air like you're having a really good time. Nice one. Thank you. And now I'm going to put the timer on so I don't spend ages talking. So, who am I? I'm a digital strategy and transformation consultant. I've been working in communications for about 16 years. And I've done social content strategies. I've done marketing strategies, digital strategies, built websites and apps and everything for companies like Carlsberg, Lifestyle Sports, Leinster, Renault, Guinness, to name a few. And I also do a little bit of blogging on a site called Hugh. So they're my credentials. That's why I've been asked to come here today. And why have I been asked to come? Because we need to talk about content, and we need to talk about content and social. So 84% of people expect brands to produce content in some form. That's like blogs, videos, social objects, tweets, Facebook, whatever it is, Snapchat, live video. That's a lot of people, but that same group, 60% of them said that the content that is produced is poor, irrelevant, or fails to deliver. That's the study from Havas Media Group. Havas Media Group are one of the biggest media buying agencies in the world. That's 375,000 respondents from 33 countries saying that. So clearly there's a problem. There's people producing content, and the content isn't fit for purpose. And so it's going out in social channels, it's going up on YouTube, and it's not getting any interaction, it's not getting any engagement. And it's stuff like this that really annoys me. This is from a large Irish company who have accounts in pretty much all the multiples, all the convenience shops around the country. You all know the brand. They're one of the first things you see when you go inside the door. And they're putting this up on social media. Look at it. I mean, the cheese is about 5 days old. I've blanked out who they've mentioned in it, but it's Tato Crisps. And, funnily enough, Tato Crisps didn't interact with it at all. The only interaction I would have had if I was Tato Crisps was, can you please take us down from that post, because it's awful. So this is a large Irish company. Or would you rather eat this, which is a post from a small retailer in Dublin? I think they have maybe 2, maybe 3 places. They make really good sandwiches. And they're doing social right. So you've got big company, big budgets, doing crap. Small company, small budgets, doing incredibly, really well photographed, really well put together, nice content. So it's not just about how big your company is, it's about your priorities, about making sure that you understand what people want and putting it out there, and not just shooting any old crap and putting it out. The other thing you've got to engage with, this is my scroll rate. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. This is how quickly I scroll when I'm on social media. People in the millennial generation and younger will scroll conservatively about 9 feet per day. So I'm 6'3". So add another whatever on top of me, 9 inches on top of what I am. And then another 2 foot 9 inches on top of what I am, and you've got what people are scrolling. So you've got all this scrolling going on. You've got the size of the screen, because most people, as Aisling said, are doing it on their mobile phone. And you're trying to compete with all of this, and you're trying to get your content seen. So if your content is crap, people are just going to ignore it and scroll straight on by it. And crap content is crap. It did say shit content is shit, but I changed it. Crap content is crap for reach. If you don't have reach, you're not going to get engagement. So reach is how many people get to see your content. Engagement is how many people do something. They either like it or share it or comment on it, or they retweet it or whatever it is. And if you're not getting the engagement, then you're getting a crap reputation, because What will happen is if you produce really bad stuff, people will take a screen grab of it and put it up on a screen like I just did and say, guys, don't do this. And it's crap for budgets because what happens is you've got the people who are making the financial decisions looking at your social media or looking at your content going, we're spending all this money producing all this content, and then we're spending all this money putting this content out there, and we're getting zero return for it. So you know what? We're going to cut the budget. And there, where are you? You know, you've got no money to do good content. You've got no money to turn things around. You're going back to the accountants going, oh, please give us some more money. We'll be better, I promise. They don't care. There's no return. And it's crap for people to look at. And that's why they just scroll on by and they just don't care about your brand. But I suppose I wasn't really brought here to give you problems. What I want to do is I want to kind of go through a few things that will help you understand how you can do things a little bit better and how maybe you can avoid the pitfalls that lots of other companies haven't avoided. I read a stat, would have been about this time last year, that 65% of Irish businesses are on social media. That's really, really good. European average is like 35. So we have this huge collective opportunity in Ireland to be really good and at the forefront of producing really good content. And we're not grasping it. So hopefully what I'm going to do is by the end of this, you're going to be able to grasp it. Let's do a time check. Not yet, wrong. Okay, so number one, plan your content. Figure out what you want to say and when you want to say it. You can't just go, as Aisling said, just kind of start churning out content and spinning it out. And being reactive and being responsive is great, but you can get it wrong. You can jump on the wrong hashtag, and that's the end of your social media career. You need to plan things out. You need to know what the things are you want to talk about throughout the year. But for your case, for small businesses and medium-sized businesses, what you want, and for if you're just going out into the workforce, you need to be starting to think in blocks of kind of month. Take a macro view and go and say, look at 3 months, and then take a micro view and go and look at a month and plan it out. What are we going to say? What are we talking about week 1? What are we talking about week 2? When are we going to post? Strategically, what does it make sense to talk about Valentine's Day in the last week of February? Of course it doesn't. So we'll talk about it in the first week of February. Things like that. And then you create content around events, dates, and activities. So, the Jameson example of the 2 Jameson bottles and the conversion cake of the bottle going through it's relevant because it's Six Nations time. Valentine's Day, everybody's churning out Valentine's Day stuff. So look at the dates. Patrick's Day is coming up. Ireland versus England in the Aviva Stadium. What's coming up during the summer? Is there any big events going on that you can, attach your brand to? Obviously, it has to be relevant to your brand. It has to be relevant to what you're trying to say. Don't try and just hijack any old thing, but if there's something that you can talk about, then talk about it. Create your content. Don't just steal it from Google. Too many people putting up cat videos on Friday saying, Happy Friday. Who cares? Nobody. It's crap. They're scrolling on by and they're going somewhere else. There are so many tools out there that you can use to create content. This deck that I created that on Canva, which is this tool on the left here. I use it for my blog, I use it for my social. It's a really simple tool, and there are literally like 10 or 20 different tools that are very similar to it that you could use. You can use sites like Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com is a place for freelancers to go, and they charge you, they'll tell you exactly what they're going to do. I will create 10 social objects for you at $15 a pop. Okay, let's sign you up. Going to Google and downloading stuff, it's not cool because it's copyright infringement, first of all. There's this thing called freebooting. Freebooting is when you go to websites, certain websites in Ireland do it quite a lot, and they have hosted a video, and it's like, check this out, and they get like big clickbaity headlines on their social feeds, and everyone goes and clicks through, and you're watching this video, and they're getting all the aggregated views for it, and it's helping out with their monetary gains from YouTube for advertising and whatever, and Facebook for clicks and stuff like that. But they've ripped it down off somebody else. It's stolen. It's copyright infringement. Don't do it. Create your content. You want your content to work for your brand. So if you're ripping it down, a cat picture, how is that relevant? I don't know. Unless you're making cat food, I really can't see how a cat is relevant to anybody's business. Video is a big driver, right? So 3 out of 4 Irish adults have watched video on demand in the last 6 months. So that's Netflix, YouTube, RTE player, 4OD, whatever it is. And the big thing about that actually is that 6 out of 10 of them are doing it up on a smartphone, and that's up 12% on 2015. 6 out of 10 people, it's actually 6.1 people, but that sounds kind of weird. 6 out of 10 people are watching video on demand on a mobile device. So if you're doing content and video isn't part of your consideration list, then you're missing a bit of a trick. Now, obviously video can be really expensive, so you just need to be, you need to be smart, you need to play smart, but you definitely need to be considering the video aspect of it. And actually, just on the Jemison thing, talking about getting really high engagement on video when they put subtitles on, the reason for that is about 85% of people watch Facebook videos with the sound off. And then the reverse on YouTube, about 85% of people watch YouTube videos with the sound on. Mostly because you're watching video of music or whatever. So video has to be on your consideration list. You also need to manage your content. And when I say manage your content, I don't mean kind of keep it on a server and keep it on a safe storage site. I mean, you need to be able to schedule stuff. One of the big pitfalls about social is that people go into it gung-ho and they're like, oh, I'm going to make a real go of this. It's going to be brilliant, and we're going to have loads of engagement, and we're going to get loads of sales from it. And then 2 weeks in, they realize, I've taken on an awful lot, and I didn't realize that posting to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Instagram stories, Twitter, YouTube, it's like, a lot of channels. It's a lot of work. So what you need to do is you need to dedicate some time on a Monday morning, maybe from 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock or till 11 o'clock, and sit down and use tools like Buffer or Hootsuite or whatever it is, maybe TweetDeck, depending on if you're not doing Facebook or not or whatever, to schedule content. If you've already planned your content and you know what you're going to talk about, then what you can do is you can sit down and you can go, right, these are the posts that we've planned, and I'm going to put them all in, I'm going to schedule them all. So they all go out and I don't have to worry about them. That leaves you open to doing the responsive stuff and replying to people and all that kind of good stuff. And you also need to be tracking your content as well. So if you're putting up blog posts or you're putting up links to videos or whatever it is, you need to be using something like Bitly or Owly or whatever your shortener service of choice is to track that. To go, okay, how many people are clicking on that link? I mean, the extension of that is using Google Tag Manager. But getting into that, that's getting you're talking about big operations, scale, and large budgets and whatever. So yeah, just using something simple like Bitly, so you can just go, okay, that went out with that tweet, and I know this many people clicked on that link. Manage your community. Okay, so this is something that an awful lot of businesses in Ireland don't do all that well, and a lot of large corporations don't do all that well. You're always seeing stories about large, in particular, one of the large telecoms companies in Ireland, people complaining about how awful their customer service is. Community management is about exactly that. People who are engaging with you on social media are your community. And you have to manage them and you have to communicate with them. So if somebody posts something asking a query or a question, then you respond to them. If they have a complaint, you go, thanks for getting in touch. Can you DM us your phone number or an email address so we can get in touch with you directly? Get them offline as quickly as you can. And then the people who are putting up positive stories about you, if you own a restaurant and somebody's coming in and they're posting nice photographs of your food, retweet them, thank them. If you own a bike shop and somebody's just after posting a photograph from the top of the Wicklow Mountains going, oh, just out for my first ride on my bike that I bought in this bike shop, it's awesome. Oh, wow, great, thanks a million for sharing that, it's a brilliant photo, I hope you enjoy the bike. It's not hard, it's really simple. If you've planned your content and you've structured it and you've scheduled it, then you should be free and open to do this kind of thing. And this is the big pitfall that a lot of businesses fall into, that they don't schedule the content and it doesn't leave them free to do this because there's so many other things that they have to manage. Find your influencers. So the one thing about influencer marketing in this country is that we have such a small pool of big influencers. Last year, in the space of 3 months, one particular influencer I saw did work for 2 financial institutions, a soft drinks company, and a car company. So the soft drinks company and the car company, that's okay. But it was bookended by 2 different financial institutions. So if you're financial institution 1 and you've just done a big influencer campaign with this guy, And then 8 weeks later, or it's actually more like 6 weeks later, he does another one with a different financial institution. Where's the play in that for you? How does that reflect well on you as a brand? So there's such a thing as a micro-influencer as well. These are people who are, like, if you're a shop, they're local to your community, they come in all the time, they buy stuff in your shop, and you talk to them. Ask them to share a post. If they are sharing posts already, make sure, going back a step, make sure you engage with them and thank them. And if they come into the shop and you recognize them, oh, thanks a million for posting that, that was really cool. What lives online doesn't necessarily start online. You can do that, you can have those face-to-face conversations with people if you see them every day. And always encourage people to, if you're selling something to somebody, say, hey, can we get a photograph with you with it? If you're a car mark and you're selling, a car and you've got a guy who's bought his brand new car and he's really pleased with himself, hey, can we get a photograph of you looking all chuffed with yourself with your brand new car? Yeah, great. Spend some money. So one of the things I get asked a lot is, how do we do this without having to spend any money? You can't. You have to spend some money, especially on Facebook. The thing about organic reach, especially on Facebook, is that it's being throttled massively. And then across the other channels, you've got these algorithms controlling what people see. And depending on whether or not they've liked stuff of yours before, or your stuff is relevant to what they're currently liking, they may not get to see it because it might get pushed down their feed. So if you want people to see it, you're going to have to spend some money. Now, you don't have to spend the earth. You can pick a couple of tweets a week that you maybe throw 10 or 20 euros behind, or you can pick a campaign that you set up on Facebook and maybe you have like 200 euros over the course of a month. But you do need to spend some money. The bigger the business, the more it's going to cost, because the more reach you want and the more engagement you want. But there is simply no way of getting around the fact that you are going to have to spend some money. Be realistic. If you can't afford it, don't try and do it cheaper. It will look cheap. So that goes back to things like the video. I mean, there's no point in going into a video production company and saying, hey, I want something that looks like Avatar, and I want it to sell my business. Because then they'll go away and they'll come back to you with a budget that's like 35,000, and then you'll turn around, oh, but I only had 5,000. Be realistic. Understand your limitations. Understand who you are and where you are in the pecking order of things. And just kind of, I suppose, don't settle, but make sure you're upfront with everybody you deal with. Look, this is what I want to do, and this is how much money I have to do it. And they'll come back to you with a solution that fits your budget. Leave the kids alone. So this happens all too often in Ireland, where people are like, oh, I need some help with my social media. Can you give us a hand? Sure, yeah, no problem. I'll put you in touch with the person who manages it for me. Oh, so you've got like a person in. Oh yeah, it's my nephew or my niece or my son, and he's just finished school and he knows about all this stuff. No, they clearly don't. They don't have the training, they don't have the expertise or whatever. So you've got to invest a little bit. It's like anything. You wouldn't go into any business without investing some time and some money, without training, to train yourself up and understand what it is the business is about. You wouldn't go to an accountant and say, hey, I want you to do my books, and then have them go, oh, cool, yeah, we'll get my son in to do it. He's just after finishing his leaving cert and he did accountancy, and he got an A. It's the same thing. It's okay to have family members or interns doing the actual day-to-day posting and doing the scheduling and doing the commenting and everything, but they need a clear direction. They need somebody to go, this is what you're doing and this is how I want you to do it. This is the tone of voice of the company. This is how we respond to complaints. Setting the rules, setting the guidelines, and letting them carry on the everyday stuff, but you have to manage them. And because what will happen is one day they'll make a really big mistake and you'll shit yourself. And then you'll go in crying and screaming at them, going, what have you done? What have you done? And some poor 19-year-old's going to be like, I don't know what I did. I'm sorry. So figure it out. How am I going to manage this properly? How am I going to put the structures in place? And what does success look like for the end of the campaign? Be secure. So this picture actually was just sent to me the other day. It's from a beauty bloggers Facebook group. And there's screen grabs of Inglot, Ireland. Inglot are a makeup company. And somebody clearly got fired. And somebody clearly still had access to their social channels. And I don't know if you can see that, but the one on the left says, fuck Inglot, and the one on the right says, Inglot is shit. So I don't know how many followers Inkblot have, but I would imagine it's quite a few because they have, quite a healthy presence around the country. So, that's damaging to your brand, massively damaging to your brand. It's funny for people to get going, haha, that's funny, but then they're going, why is somebody writing that? It's like when HMV shut down the first time a few years ago and the staff still had access to the social accounts. And they were giving a blow-by-blow about what was going on behind the scenes and how the management were screwing them over. Change your passwords regularly. Use two-step verification. Pretty much all the social channels now have two-step verification, that you get a text message if somebody tries to log in and they need to put a PIN number in. And remove admin rights. If somebody leaves a company, you remove them, and they're a social media manager, remove them. I left a job not so long ago, and I had to remove myself 3 weeks after I had left. I had to remove myself as an administrator from the Facebook page. That's not good enough. You need to be managing these things because it's reputation management. And if your reputation gets shot, it's very hard to get it back on social. Be where your audience is. This is really important. There's no point, if you're selling beer, there's no point in putting up content on LinkedIn. It's going to hit the wrong audience. Similarly, if you're selling, Wavin pipe, there's probably no point in you being on Snapchat because who cares about Wavin pipe on Snapchat? So you need to figure out where your audience are. Where do they live? Where do they consume their content the most? What are they into in those channels? And how can I produce the right content to hit them and get on with it and do good work and get good return, reach, engagement, have people talking to me? Review performance, and this is definitely something Irish businesses don't do. Large businesses, yes, because they have their agencies to do it and they can afford to spend the money on the tools, but the tools, the free tools are there. All the major networks have their own analytics tools. You need to go in, you need to look at how your content is performing, find out what works, find out what doesn't work, and see who are the people who are influencing. And then you cut the crap, the stuff that doesn't perform. Okay, so this particular style doesn't work for us, we're not going to do that again. But video, obviously for everybody, does really well. We're going to do more video. So you need to, the tools are, it's Facebook analytics, Twitter analytics, Instagram analytics, Google analytics, YouTube analytics. They're all there. They're all the tools. If you've got an account, you've got access to them. Use them, review. And you should be doing it for, a small business or a medium business. You should be doing it once a month. If you're like a large corporation or a large business, you should be doing it, once a week, going back and checking and seeing how things are going. One size fits all. No, it doesn't. You got to think about your content. So if you're creating an image for social, for Twitter, for Facebook, for Instagram, one size doesn't fit all. They all have different size parameters. So you have to create the same image to fit on different formats. That's all about scroll rate. It's all about people going through their feed. If you want people to stop and look at something, they've got to be able to see what the image looks like. And if you put a Facebook image up on Twitter, it's likely that they're not going to see the catch line or whatever it is that you're doing. So you just need to think about how people are viewing it. So, if we're going to put this out in Snapchat later, okay, then it needs to be portrait. Little things like that. And don't be crap. Don't do this when you can do this. Don't do this when you can do this. I mean, it's fairly obvious, right? Have a look at it. If you're looking on your social feed and you saw the one on the left, is there anybody in the room who would eat that sandwich? Okay, the one on the right. Hands up, who would eat that sandwich? Come on, put your hands up. Okay, so that's 200 sales right there. And finally, reach for the lasers. There is nothing wrong with trying something and failing. Just don't be crap at trying. Don't just go half-ass at it and go, okay, let's do a little PowerPoint presentation and screen grab it and put it up. Create it, design it. Have it look right, have it look well. I saw a post from ladies football, and it's an advertisement to get people to get into the game. It's €5 admission, and it's in Tipperary. And the social object they put up was created as a Word document, and it uses Comic Sans. And it's got photographs stuck in the four corners of the page. And it's awful. And I'm telling you, 10 minutes on a tool like Canva and they could have produced something really, really nice and something that they would have been proud of. Instead, they've got that. And I guarantee they're going to get zero engagement from it because people just aren't going to look at it. So that's it. That's it from me. Thanks very much.